Head coach Matt Eberflus has now said and released who's going to be lined up where in our new linebacking core. We also apparently were really close to re-signing running back David Montgomery. We're going to talk about all that plus some more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. If you want to follow me off the top, you can do so at CEO Haize. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at Chi Bears Central. But let's get into it. So head coach Matt Eberflus is out at the annual, I think it's like a brunch or dinner of the NFC head coaches. And he said this, that Tremaine Edmunds will be the Mike linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Now, there had been some, questions initially in the signing of would he play the Mike or Will linebacker, but it seems like our linebacker core is now going to line up with Tremaine Edmunds at the middle linebacker. We're going to have TJ Edwards at the Will, and then Jack Sanborn at the Sam linebacker. And so, it's still the same talent, still the same overall, lineup. And when you really look at the importance in that Tampa 2 system, you need to have a big body. And considering Tremaine Edmunds is rated as the number one coverage linebacker in the league, it really makes sense to have him at that middle linebacker. I just know that was different than some initial reports and some initial speculation on how that linebacking core was going to line up. But again, we already know that Ryan Poles' scheme fit has been one of the most important factors in his acquisitions this offseason. So, they were already planning for this. And while there may be some questions, on, who's going to line up where, how's it going to work out, best believe that Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles had in-depth conversations about where they see these players filling in, the positions that they see them playing in. So this was all part of the plan. And, it's good to have a little bit of, I guess, on the insider knowledge. I guess not really insider. It was going to happen one way or another, but it's good to kind of know where everyone's going to be filling in. And when you look at both Edwards and Jack Sanborn's ability to come out off those sides and just their skill sets, it all is going to make sense. I'm really excited about our linebacking core overall. And I think that, that this is going to be one of those linebacking cores that they just get it done. And it's going to be solid football scene. We're going to get a lot of tackles. We're going to we're going to hit hard. We're also going to play fast. I really like the linebacking core. I want to see that supported with a better defensive line, of course, and we'll see how we're going to plan to address that in this upcoming draft. But overall, where it is right now, I'm happy with it. We still got some holes that we need to fill, and I think everybody realizes that the Bears still have offensive tackle that we need to fill. Some rank quarterback up there as well. The 3 tech, these are all positions that we need to fill remaining, but listen, what Ryan Poles has done this offseason has been solid. We still need to see it on the field. We still got tons of things that we still need to improve on before we're ready to say that it's a complete picture. But overall, yeah, it is. It kind of is what it is there. Now, one thing that also came out yesterday was in a meeting with the NFL owners, Ryan Poles said that he felt like they were really close to re-signing David Montgomery. He said this, I would just sum it up by saying players do have a choice. I thought we communicated well. I thought we negotiated well. At the same time, you don't always know what's going on in the background, but I thought we did a good job. We were transparent, we were organized, and it just didn't happen. I feel like it was really close, though. So, to say that, it could be looked at as he's trying to save a little face here, but I think we do have to keep in mind, and shout out to C-Dub, who did say that as well, or I think it was Bobby who said that, like, players have a choice, all right? And to say that, like, if the Bears just did not want to offer him money, okay, that's absolutely on the Bears. If David Montgomery just wanted to do a change of scenery, all right, cool. At the end of the day, I know that it sucked to lose David Montgomery, but it was at a position that is probably the easiest replaceable position in football right now. And so, it sucks to lose him. And I wanted to see David Montgomery be here in Chicago for the long term. I would have loved to see what that looked like. I would have loved, hell, to just see how far he could have got up in our all-time rushing list, considering he's already far up there by playing his full career in Chicago. I'm a lifelong Chicago Bears fan. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. All right, that's a whack-ass saying and phrase, but I said it nonetheless, so it's on wax now. But with that being said, I would have loved to see him be there. But, with as much changes that the Bears need to do, and I like how they rebounded. We're bringing in Donta Foreman. I like the things that they did there. Listen, it sucks. And you're going to lose players. And sometimes in building a new team and changing a culture and just in how things work out, you're not always going to be able to keep players that you probably would have wanted to see stay here. That's just the casualty of sports in general and in a hard cap league. And it sucks that we lost David Montgomery. It sucks that we lost him on a deal that was fair. It was a fair deal. And, we would have liked to see the Bears match that offer. But at the end of the day, Running back, like I said, is probably the easiest replaceable position in football right now. There's some really good running backs we can get late in the draft. We did a nice pivot in bringing in Donta Foreman. I still like our running back room in that core there. I like what we're going to be able to do. Theoretically, we still need to do some work on that offensive line, but I really do like it. And, if anything, that is probably the biggest miss. To me, this is similar of when the Chicago Bulls, in the season where we brought in, Kirk Heinrich and everybody that we brought in and Carlos Boozer, we lost Kurt Heinrich in that. Or did I say Kyle Korver? We brought in Kyle Korver. We lost Kurt Heinrich in that. And that was a player that I would have loved to see stay with the Bulls. He eventually came back. And I think David Montgomery is going to be similar to that. He's going to be a player that we always think about. What if we could have kept him then? What if we could have re-signed him? What would his career trajectory would have been like on this Chicago Bears team, a team that had the number one rushing offense in the league, but we had to move on. Well, not have to, but we did move on from him. So, we'll continue to see how it works out. I'm still really excited about the running back core we have here, and I'll still be rooting for David Montgomery, just not in 2 games of the season when we face the Lions. But moving off that, Matt Eberflus also came out, and he had this to say. And he was talking to NFL Network's Judy Batista, and it was in regards to Justin Fields. He says, I was with him the whole year. I was in all the quarterback meetings, and I really spent the first year building that relationship with him as a head coach and quarterback. He just showed me grit and toughness, work ethic. His teammates love him, all the things that come with the position. He exuded those traits for me. And so, we all know, right? When you look at the position of quarterback, the Bears have not had the history of great quarterbacks. We just haven't. But when you have a coach that believes in you and that has said now that he feels that Justin Fields exudes all the traits of a franchise quarterback, that's what you need and want to see in your team. Now, again, it's easy in offseason to say a lot of anything, right? That's to be said. But we're proving that we're building around these young players. We prove that we're trying to build a team that is going to help maximize and put Justin Fields in the right position, albeit still need to address that offensive line. I'm going to keep saying that because people love to run with it. If you don't say offensive line and everything in any type of praise for the Bears, like, oh, but what about that offensive line? Oh, but with that said, outside of my pettiness, I like that this team is confident in Justin Fields. I like that they have a quarterback that they are going to see through. And, hopefully Justin Fields and Luke Getsy and just everything that comes together in this offense overall, that we're walking away from next season or in the midst of next season, just talking about how good the offense looks for the Chicago Bears. And we could have the chance at having a very dynamic offense. And it all really does hinge in many ways off the growth that Justin Fields makes as a passer next season. We know what he can do as a runner. We know what he can do in being creative. We know what Khalil Herbert can do as a runner. We theoretically know what Donta Foreman is going to be able to come in and bring as a running back as well to this core. Cole Kmet, proven weapon. DJ Moore, one of the best wideouts in the league and a true number one that we now have on this roster. And Justin Fields, in the way that he grows as a passer in this season, is not only going to help us know what's coming for the Bears for the future, it's also going to help attract free agents to the Bears, hopefully, once this team starts winning games. I'm sure we missed out on some key free agents that we could have afforded to sign just because they went to situations that was a better option to win now. And so as the Bears grow, as they improve, as they become more of a team that you can bet and rely on that they're going to be able to win games, I think having Justin Fields as that franchise quarterback, as that leader, as well as leaders that we have on the defensive side of the ball as well, the Bears are going to become even more of a free agent destination over this time period. And so, we want to see that growth, of course. And we'll just hopefully continue to see development from Ryan Poles, Justin Fields, Matt Eberflus, and then we're building something truly meaningful here with the Chicago Bears and something that's going to be successful. And hopefully we can get back to being the Kings of the North. We can get back to being the monsters of the Midway, right? That's what I want to see this team being. And we are in a position, if we can improve the trenches, to have probably a top 10 defense and offense. But all those things, theoretically, you can make any conversation for that right now. You have to prove it on the football field. And hopefully we start seeing that come along for the Bears in this season. We start winning more games, and we're just a team that's not only competitive, but we're converting that competitiveness into actually winning football games. That's what we need to do. We need to win football games. Everything next season is as much as the progression of Fields as a passer, the progression in Luke Getsy as a play caller, and really, utilizing those weapons and being more creative with that team. It all still comes down to win. Everything comes down next season to how many games do the Chicago Bears win after coming into the offseason with the most assets that we've probably ever had in the offseason combined. the highest cap space, the number 1 overall pick, which we still got a solid deal back for. But now, what is that going to turn into on the field for the Chicago Bears is the biggest question. And whatever it is on the field, does that then turn into wins? We have to start winning. We got by. Shout out to us having an exciting team in losses last season and an exciting quarterback. But a lot of Bears fans are tired of losing. It's time to start winning. It's great to have the potential. It's great to have the talent here. But at the end of the day, all the talent in the world, if it doesn't come via wins, it don't matter. So what Ryan Poles, what Matt Eberflus, what anybody is talking about, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whether it's Kevin Warren, whoever it is, it has to translate into wins. And we're not saying that the Bears need to all of a sudden be this surefire contender next season, but we have to win. Another 3-14 season ain't gonna cut it for the Bears. It's not gonna cut it after the hype and the assets that we went into this offseason with. We have to convert this talent, this potential. Potential doesn't mean a goddamn thing if it's not coming eventually via wins. We need to get the wins next season. And I think that everyone in this organization realizes that. And while we haven't addressed every position, the trenches, again, on the offense and defense, like we need to as of yet, I trust that they know that we have to address it, because that's not the thing that we want to be looking in the season and be like, oh, we had a pretty good season, but hey, if we had a better offensive line, we could have got a couple of more games. We need to improve those things. And I do trust Ryan Poles and everything that he's saying and talking about his methodology and being later in the later rounds in the draft and how he sees talent down there and the chances to get high level talent even later in rounds in the draft. All that sounds great, and all that he even proved it in an undrafted. We are going into next season with an undrafted rookie in Jack Sanborn being a day 1 starter more than likely for the Bears, and none of us are really looking at that as a negative. I'm sure there's some Bears fans out there that are. But everything has to come via wins. Yes, you have the potential. Yes, you do your scouting. Yes, we understand that you go deep in the draft in your analysis and what you're going to do. But we need wins. This franchise, this city deserves wins. And let's hope it comes next season for the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, and we're talking about a team that won games next season. All right, but that's it for that. That's my time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. Make sure you're following the show at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for our Friday mailbag episodes, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number 1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.